Greetings, everyone. I am Pia Serrano, the one who reached out to you regarding this evaluation form. I am also the project manager for this particular capstone project entitled AudCare, Advanced Care for Children with Autism Spectrum Disorder through a mobile application for predicting and managing meltdowns using machine learning algorithms. So care for your little one with ease. This is what our splash screen says. So it's kind of the slogan within the AudCare team. AudCare is a mobile application that aims to aid in the management and prevention of meltdowns and tantrums in children with autism spectrum disorder. So I remember when um, spearheading the user research for this application. I saw in many autism FB groups guardians trying to reach out to their pets or OTs or having a hard time handling their little ones' tantrums and meltdowns. So it aims to bridge that knowledge and that kind of healthcare to them if no professional is within the vicinity or they're still at home, they can have the option of caring for their child with credible information. I would like to add a disclaimer that, of course, we're not trying to replace the expertise of healthcare practitioners. We're just trying to bridge that gap in the knowledge of guardians when it comes to caring for their little ones. So as you can see in the screen, we have a Tagalog option since there are also um, guardians who are not adept in understanding English. So with that, we can proceed with the sign up function. Right, so we have two options right here, sign up via AudCare and sign up via Google. So for now, we don't have the Google functionality yet. We will integrate that in the following um, creations of objectives. So for now, we're still targeting the objective number one. So before that, we may cite the terms and conditions right here. So we also integrated that this kind of content in the application so that we can uh, clearly state our boundaries as the creators of this application to our users. Of course, copyright claims and termination of accounts. That's also the scope of this application. And another one would be the privacy policy. So when it comes to privacy policy, of course, we should be aligned to the laws of the country when it comes to data privacy. We also added a very um, comprehensive explanation when it comes to accessing our users' data. Of course, we're only gonna keep it and utilize it to the goals of the system and without malicious means, which is stated there as well. So back to the sign up frame, please. So we may now create an account. So when it comes to creating an account, the guardian will be the main user of the system, but the name that they will input is the child's name since this account will be for them. But but they can also create multiple accounts for each and every one of their children. We'll get onto that later for the login function. So there, those are all the credentials that we need. And of course, um, even before like getting the credentials, we also need the personal background of the child. This is so that we can align the recommendation for strategies and techniques in intervening with their tantrums and meltdowns. So we can tailor those recommendations to them. But a little disclaimer that in this evaluation, we will not cover that functionality, which because that is our objective two. We will only cover objective one, which is the computer vision, that will detect the behavior of the child, um, whether there's a possibility that meltdown is gonna occur or if a tantrum is occurring. So we're gonna tackle that classification first for objective one. So so these are all the data fields that is needed for the personal background, the birth date, the age, the gender, and the development stage. Next, please. And the autism background. So, with creating the user research for this application, we've also encountered that uh, the diagnostics for this particular disorder. Of course, this application only caters to diagnosed children, and we cannot guarantee the highest accuracy of this application if only a suspected child is using it. So we haven't polished yet the needed kind of inputs in the diagnostic criteria and the ADOS and ADIR fields. We will be consulting with other healthcare practitioners for that. So in the meantime, they have the long text kind of input right there. So we also have the level and the specifiers, of course, and the sensory preference, whether they are seeking or avoiding. Next, please. So again, the trigger history, so we can further align the recommendation to them. So we have various environmental factors here for the sensory triggers, since um, children with autism spectrum disorder get have meltdowns due to sensory overload, which is then due to environmental factors like the listed one here. So next, the meltdown triggers there. For this particular one, we've only labeled that as meltdown trigger since these are the specific contextual factors that can trigger a meltdown. And the next one would be tantrum triggers, which are um, contextual factors again, but for triggering tantrums for in the children. Next, please. So again, we need to get their preferences when it comes to their toys and media, so we can cater the recommendation for interventions or for tantrums and meltdowns to them. So we're also gonna gather that data. This is the last part of the personal background, so we can now proceed to logging in. All right, let's go. All right. As you may see here, can we go back to that frame again? Can you log out? And then log in again. All right. So what we have here is that our registered accounts is saved on this login page so that we may um, accommodate several children if they have like one guardian and they handle multiple children, they can easily log in and out of our system, so we can accommodate um, more than just one child. So please log in again so we can discuss the homepage. All right, for the homepage, we have here the listed features of the application and its instructions actually. So we indicated there that the guardians have to review the instructions for each feature before using them so they can utilize it to its fullest potential. But before that, maybe know about AudCare more. So let's click that question mark button. All right. So to know more about the team and the initiative and the target users of this application, they may also view this page. So this is just like quite an overview of the application so they can understand it better since this is quite a niche application to have. Going back to the home page. So actually for that search bar, it's actually our objective tree that will the guardian should input their location there and it will display the nearest healthcare professionals that handle children with autism spectrum disorder. So it covers developmental pediatricians, occupational therapists, and speech language pathologists provided by the organizations that um, that provided the directories publicly. So I suppose our respondents do know of that of that organization since we got your emails in that particular directory. So moving on to the instructions for the prevention feature. All right. So the prevention feature is for managing tantrums and preventing meltdowns. So it's for children that are displaying mild behavior and um, it has the goal of classifying whether or not it's it's nearing a meltdown, tantrum, or neither. And if any of the former two, like the nearing a meltdown and tantrum occurs, it will recommend interventions in order to manage the tantrum or prevent it from progressing into a meltdown or prevent the nearing meltdown from happening. So with this part, it actually covers most of the objective one. So can you scroll up please? So objective one aims to aims to record the behavior through computer vision technology. So the guardian, again, once they click this hand stop sign right here, it will prompt a camera and they will have to record the behaviors that it is displaying. And if there is a behavior detected, it will prompt the environmental and contextual factors that will help determine whether or not it is a tantrum or meltdown. If no behavior is detected, it will prompt the neither classification. So that covers the objective one, which is the computer vision and classification. Moving on to the fallback feature, also not part of our objective one. It's mostly our objective two, but we'll also tackle the instructions right here. So for the for the fallback feature, for managing meltdowns or extreme behaviors. So for this one, when a child is displaying like um, violent behavior or just like breaking down or being extremely intense in displaying those behaviors, of course, the guardians don't have time to record those behaviors. They immediately need some interventions. So when it comes to that, we collated some common intense behaviors that a child with autism spectrum disorder can display during a meltdown or tantrum. And then again, they're picking the factors for environmental and contextual so we can determine whether or not or it is a meltdown or tantrum. And with that, we can generate the interventions that uh, aim to alleviate their condition. With that, we can now move on to the model or the AI in for objective one. Thank you so much. All right, moving on to the actionality, the objective one. Go on to the hand stops icon here beside the home. All right. So the first step would be uploading the video of the child displaying behaviors or suspected behaviors in that. Then you're gonna give the system some time to process that video frame by frame so we can assess each um each act in the video. All right. So the classification in the computer vision tells that there is behavior detected. So it prompts the frame for the environmental and contextual factors. So we're gonna test some factors right. So as you can see, the demo is clicking some environmental factors. Then they click the next button after picking all the applicable um, factors that is surrounding the child. So after that, it classified the behaviors into a tantrum. That is because there are contextual factors that probably align to having a tantrum. So after the classification, there would a recommendation so they can intervene in the condition of the child. But again, this is for objective 2 already, and the objective 1 ends at the classification at the top. So that concludes the objective 1. Greetings, this is Pia once again, here to present our user interface for our objective 1, which is the tantrum classification and meltdown prediction. So I will be explaining each frame so you can understand the flow of this particular functionality. So again, once a person tries to click this hand stop sign here, they will be redirected to this camera function, which is inside placed inside the application. And this is part of the prevention feature, which is under the meltdown classification and tantrum classification as well. So once a guardian tries to record the child displaying the behavior, which is they assume to be having a tantrum or nearing a meltdown, there is a one limit to the recording, but they need to at least provide 10 seconds of the recording. And the behavior should be clearly visible in the front perspective and in portrait orientation. Zooming in and out is strictly prohibited so we can ensure the quality of the recording. So once they upload that recording, the system will automatically detect the behaviors that is applicable in classifying nearing a meltdown or tantrum. So if no behavior is detected, meaning there is no possibility of an occurrence of meltdown or tantrum, kunwari they're just standing there or sitting still, they will be immediately redirected to the neither frame. So this is the neither frame. It means that uh yeah, the child is neither experiencing tantrum, or they are also not experiencing nearing a meltdown. So for this, we have a bit of an instruction here. So if the application classifies it as neither, then you may expect your child to not go on a tantrum or meltdown at all. We still advise you to not close the application yet from the strategies and techniques page until nothing has occurred at all for the next 15 to 30 minutes, so you can evaluate the feature on whether or not it had an accurate prediction to help the application learn. So we have a feedback page for after this classification, but it's not part of the objective one functionality, so we will be skipping that. And you may also edit the behavioral symptoms and factors you have inputted and regenerate in case something occurs. So for this one, you can also change what you have inputted before, just in case something did really occur in the next 15 to 30 minutes. So um, if something did occur, or like uh the computer vision functionality of the application did detect a behavior in your uploaded video, this will prompt you to go to the environmental and contextual factors frame. So this will help the system classify whether it is meltdown or tantrum. So, as you may know, meltdowns are mainly caused by sensory overload, which is caused by environmental factors. So, we have a variety of factors right here, which are specific conditions like lighting, noise, spaces, scent, temperature, texture, and visual stimuli. We tried to obtain variety for our application, but also uh, attaining attaining ideal user experience with this kind of frame, so they can easily just like click and have like a fast paced navigation, so they can get to the best possible results faster. And again, we have also contextual factors, since these factors are important in determining whether or not it is actually a tantrum. So some factors here are aligned into having a meltdown. Others are aligned into having a tantrum. So like this one being denied of their wants. So in that case, it's likely that they're having a tantrum instead, since this will incite quite the reaction from the child. So once they have selected all those options, they can uh, click this next button. Once that is done, this will prompt the strategies and techniques page. This is not part of the Objective 1 functionality once again. The main goal of the Objective 1 functionality is to classify whether or not the child is experiencing a tantrum, nearing a meltdown, or neither. So the content here will not be visible for Objective 1 yet, but the classification should be visible at the top right here. There. But the content will be promptly followed once we've created Objective 1, since the recommendation engine for the strategies and techniques are within the Objective 2. So that will be followed up. So for now, our evaluation covers only Objective 1, which is the classification of tantrum, near a meltdown, and neither, and the ability of the computer vision to detect behaviors from the child. That's all. Thank you so much.